Hey everyone, it's me, Sean Capri, and welcome to episode 162 of We the GamerCast. It comes to you every Monday on youtube.com/WeTheNerdy and iTunes and Google Play. I said that weird. That was backwards a little bit. Guys, thank you for listening, for subscribing, hitting thumbs up, leaving a comment saying just like, I was here. Even if you're my mom or you're my dad, you can say like, hi, Sean. I'm really proud of what you're doing. That may be actually happening, guys. Thank you so much for coming back. We had a couple shows last week, which we're going to get to in just a second. But if you're new, here's the deal. Every week I have sweet hangs with a stranger from the internet. And if you want to be on the show, it's easier than you might think. Just tweet at me at Sean Capri. Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. This show is possible. You're watching this on video. And last week we had Mr. James Johnson, Dr. Doom, who I didn't realize nobody knew his name. So you know him as Jams, youtube.com/jamsgams. It's all possible thanks to everybody who supports us at patreon.com/makeusbetter. Videos there, returning guests are there, all the stuff is there. The green screen that is not up right now behind me, but it's there because of you guys, so thank you so much. And so I want to say a special thank you to our platinum executive producers, Mr. Corey Hicks at twitch.tv/chicks_18 and Mr. Mark Moody at youtube.com/outoflives. Our gold executive producers, Tony Baker, Sheldon, Benedict, and Panache Malloy. Wait, Tony Baker's not been on the show. Everybody else has been on the show. Guys, come on. Tony, let's do this. Executive producers, Stephen Iafrate. I'm gonna cut this. I'm gonna do it again. We're back. Damn it. Our executive producers, Stephen Iafrate, JoeySplats, Caro, Underwood, Dante, Bellini Jr., Jared Gauthier, Dude427, Kevin Austin, Josh Borbone, Tammi Ryan, Robert Bobby Miller, Tim Aulph, Joel Brooks, Martini G, NastyBoots, David Ray, and Jesse Armstrong. Guys, thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for supporting us. It's been a wild ride here on We the GamerCast. Some laughs, some cries, probably some, I think Jams burped at some point. You get it all here with the GamerCast, and today is no different. We've got Mario Not Bros. I'm going to say his name maybe once while we chat, but probably introduce him as Mario Not Bros, so I make sure that I not mess it up. This is, and by the way, not Mario. This is an absolutely phenomenal episode. I can't wait to share it with you guys. But before we do that, something caught on last week. It wasn't before the James episode. It was before the Kyle episode of just and try this, guys. Warren, if you're watching, just try this. When you're listening, think of 3 things that you're grateful for. My 3 things are, number 1, Skype. As much as we all curse Skype, I just had a lovely conversation, good hour, with a good friend from way back when. You might know him as the Nintendo Guru. I'm grateful for Skype for bringing us together. We were reminiscing a little bit of all the different moves that we've had, like the different setups. Like him and I have known each other in different spaces. We've met once before, but we have this relationship through the camera, so it's always like in the same spot too. So it's interesting to see new settings kind of for Bobby. So I'm grateful to Skype for that. I'm grateful for my dad. He was over yesterday, and I had commented I wanted to make some changes with my setup here, and he's like, let's just do it. And it required just a couple of like kind of tedious moves, but it was very grateful. I was very grateful, and it was very helpful to have a second set of hands. I moved all a bunch of stuff. I broke most things while we were fixing everything, but everything's back. I think I've got everything there. I also discovered that the green screen has little feet at the bottom. I didn't know that. Anybody who's got this green screen before probably knew that. And it kept tipping back, and I didn't realize there's these little like stands that you can kind of like kick out, and that keeps it from flopping back. So thanks, Dad. Also grateful for podcasts. I've just been catching up. I actually am at a point where, and you guys have seen my podcast list, I'm like caught up, and I'm just very grateful. I feel like it has given me so much to like look forward to build, like to stretch this creativity. It has led me into streaming. There's so much, and it helps me kind of just like flesh out my thoughts a little bit, and it occupies my mind. I'm grateful for podcasts for so many different reasons. So I want to keep this up. If you guys want to leave what you're grateful for in the comments, I think this is a really cool thing that we've got going on. It helps me get into a positive space, and I hope it helps you, even if you're just hearing me. If that helps, that's great. And yeah, I think I'll just kind of leave it at that. If you guys want to give that a shot, then we'll do that. But I'm mostly, if you guys haven't checked it out already, youtube.com/WeTheNerdy, I'm having a whole lot of fun streaming Tuesdays and Wednesday nights, unless I'm recording a returning guest. That's usually happening on Thursday nights, but pretty damn sure Tuesdays and Wednesdays at the very least. check it out. I'll be playing some God of War, probably playing the Witcher, and then maybe even Octopath very soon. But stay tuned on that. Let's get right into my chat with Mario Piacquadio. I said that wrong. I totally said that wrong. Mario, not Bros. I'm so sorry, Mario. Maybe I said it wrong. It was close. Kind of funny best friend, one of the most genuine and kind people I've talked to in a long, long time. Thank you. You know what? That's not true. I just talked to Kyle Stevenson. So all the kind of funny best friends, amazing people. I feel like I said to him after the chat, he's like the cousin I never had, except that I've got cousins. I basically just think that he's my family. That's what I'm saying. So hopefully you guys connect with that a little bit. Here he is, Mario, not Bros. I'm way more interested in your jersey, man. Finally, I have like a hockey fan.
Oh, yeah, you're a hockey fan? Oh, yes.
Oh, I'm Canadian, so it's automatic.
Makes sense, yes.
Yeah.
I'm from New York, so I just born and raised in Rangers fan.
Yeah. So is it like an automatic like Rangers Yankees thing? Like, is it?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
it depends
like,
where you come from. Yeah, it depends on your roots. Like, there's no really a choice. It's like, well, we're from here, so this is where you root for.
Where's here? Like, where specifically in New York are you?
So, I'm right now not in New York. I'm in Florida, but from my dad's side, they all stem from the Bronx. So it's like heavy Yankees area. Mm-hmm. So that's, Yankees, Knicks, Rangers, Giants.
Yep.
It's just the way it is. Like, I didn't really have a choice growing up. It was like, no, this is what you're a fan of. It's like, okay, I guess I am.
But honestly, like that, there could be worse, like sports, I guess, areas to grow up in.
Oh, definitely.
You could be an Islanders fan, like our friend Colin.
Exactly. Or a Jets fan, which I am not.
Dude, so the first time I went to an NFL game was at a Jets game, and I'm sitting there going like, and I had to like, cause I wanted to dress up and everything and get into it. And I actually have the sweater like right over here. This is the show, just so you know. But like this, I bought this in New York, so I'm sorry that I even have this. But so the reason I tell you this is because I was sitting there like looking at all these Jets fans, and we're sitting in what was then Giant Stadium. And I'm going like, you guys know that like a way better team plays like just every other week, right?
Like right here, exactly, right here where you guys are, like way better. Like we've won Super Bowls, like a lot of them.
Super Bowls. Actually, that's really when I think I probably, and this is where I'm maybe a bit of a bandwagon jumper. I first started getting into NFL. It was kind of like when the first Patriots Giants Super Bowl. And just like the ridiculous, like this catch, like up against the helmet and everything.
Oh,
like,
yes.
Just classic, man. So I'm my dad hates it because he wants me to like the CFL, and I just can't, man.
I can't.
Have you even watched? Yeah. Have you watched any of it at all?
I've watched a few actually. When I was in San Francisco for prom, I was like at a restaurant, and a TV had some CFL games going on.
No, it didn't.
And we were watching it, and we were just like, man, the CFL, dog. And like, what is this?
It's awful, man. And like, I can't even go to a game. Like, I went a few years ago, and it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And we're good. Like in Edmonton, we're good. Like we started like not winning because we were sort of bored of it. We were so great, mm-hmm. And then it's just like, it's not so good.
Yeah.
So then, what is it like being a New York transplant? Then basically, like moving to Florida, but still like very proud New Yorker. I was gonna say Norcan. Yeah. That's a made up word.
New Yorkie, no New Yorker. I mean, it's good. There's actually a lot of New Yorkers here in Florida.
Yeah.
Which is funny enough. And I have a lot of family. Like I have aunts that on like winter they come down here just because it's way too cold over there. So they just come down here and spend their summer. Mm-hmm. Like pretty much, it's just opposite.
How is it?
But man? Yeah, it's good. It's good. I have a lot of New Yorker friends. I have a friend who's a kind of funny best friend. He still lives in New York, but he works a lot down here in Florida.
Yeah.
So he comes here and visits. We watch Yankee games and whatnot. It's great.
I love it, man. A good friend of mine is a huge Rangers fan, and he gets into it too because, like, so I'm from Edmonton, so actually our teams have very linked connections.
Yeah.
Glenn Sather, Wayne Gretzky, like the list goes on and on.
Absolutely.
So it's funny to see kind of like the back and forth with that. But I'm curious, man. So why move though? Why? You said kind of your dad's family. Like, are your parents still together? Or did they split? Is that part of the move?
So my parents are split. They've been split ever since I was a kid. So it's nothing new.
Sure.
But mostly, I mean, I have family like all over the place. We also stem from Venezuela, so we had some family over there. Mm-hmm. I used to live there, but we moved also. back into the U.S. again, and I had some family on my mom's side here in Florida, so we all decided to come to Florida. It's a little cheaper for now, and eventually at some point we'll probably go back to New York. But for now we're here. We're good here. It's
New York seems impossibly expensive. Like between New York and San Francisco, like obviously just world-class cities, but
it's exactly. So that's part of the reason why we're not there right now, because we can't really afford it, and we're more comfortable here. So we're fine here. We watched a few Rangers games. I have the Panther Stadium. It's literally 15 minutes away. It's not even 15. It's like 10 minutes away from my house, so I go there all the time.
Holy crap, dude. Okay, so I would have gotten married like just 10 minutes away from you then. So I got married in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, I work in Fort Lauderdale.
That's crazy. Yeah, man. So we went to see a Panthers and Montreal Canadiens game.
Nice.
Like I think it was like the day or two before I got married. There was like a whole bunch of family up, and just a bunch of the guys went to a hockey game. And it was hilarious to see, like, I don't know if you feel this as well, especially as a Rangers fan. It was like the 20th anniversary, I think, for the Panthers, and they set up all this stuff for like, look at the history of the Florida Panthers, and it's like, guys, come on, man.
You don't have that much history. Come on, guys.
John Van Beesbrook with his awesome like Panther helmet, like that's kind of, you had some good people kind of like pass through, but
that's about it. You had a good debut season. You had Jaromir Jagr for a bit, but that's about it.
Jaromir Jagr's a beauty, man.
Oh, absolutely.
I love that guy.
He's a gem. Oh, I adore him. He's the best.
Do you play hockey at all? Or are you just a fan?
It's just a fan. Yeah. I didn't even get a chance to play much. I like maybe every now and then, but I play more basketball than I do hockey.
Oh, do you really? Are you tall?
Yeah. No, I'm super short, which is a bad thing in basketball. But
short dude.
I picked the wrong sport as a kid.
That's all right. There's plenty of short guys. Steve Nash wasn't tall.
Exactly. There you go.
He's one of the only people. As a Canadian, I'm obliged to whenever we talk about basketball.
Of course,
say Steve Nash. That's
he has to come up. Exactly.
That's pretty much it, dude.
I love it.
So what about the Venezuelan background, man? Like, there's a lot of stuff going on in Venezuela.
Yeah.
Like, so what is that? Are you connected to it at all? Like, or you still have family back there affected by everything going on over there?
I have very little family. Before I used to live there. Me and my mom lived there. My dad lived there, but pretty much everybody has left at this point.
No doubt.
I have like 1 or 2 people left there. Mm-hmm. But like I said, my family's spread all over the place. I have people here in Florida, people in New York, people in Houston, people in Spain. Like
that's awesome, man. Wherever you go, you can have family to stay with. You got places to stay all over the world.
Pretty much, exactly.
Maybe in San Francisco. Well, best friends, you guys can all just kind of like get together. That's the best thing, man. The first kind of funny live. I went to the second one. But it's just amazing. Like, you just see all these people crammed together, and like Zyger is, I don't even know what, he's either drunk or hanging out of a window or whatnot.
Oh, he's incredible. No, but I get what you're saying. It's a very family feeling event. You're there, and even if you don't know people, you can just walk up and talk to them, and they're gonna be nice to you and help you out. Like, it's great. It's a really special event.
Was prom your first one?
Second one. I went to KFL 3 last year, and now prom.
Nice, man. So how was prom? Tell me. I talked to Kyle Stevenson yesterday, which would have been last week's episode, but now it's kind of nice to kind of like catch up with everybody post prom.
I know, right? Yeah, prom was a lot of fun. Honestly, after KFL 3, I thought I was like, yeah, this is the best weekend of my life, hands down. Can't get any better than this. But then prom completely blew that out of the water.
Really?
Yeah, I was also there for about a day overall longer.
Yeah.
So I got there a day earlier than most people got there. Most people got there on Thursday. I got there on Wednesday, pretty early in the morning, so I got to hang out with a couple people there, and we just hung out a lot, had a lot of fun through the whole. Yeah, it was great. It was really, really good.
How is the West Coast for you, though? You've been East Coast your whole life. It's got to be drastically different, just lifestyle and area and everything.
It is really different, but it's surprisingly nice. I would have thought that going to San Francisco, I wasn't going to like it as much.
Yeah.
But I actually love the city.
It's pretty nice.
The only actual terrible thing I could say about San Francisco is the pricing. It's how expensive it is. Because other than that, I would love to live in a city like that. I just couldn't because of the price. But it's such a nice city.
So where are you in life right now? Are you in school? Are you graduated, or where on your path are you right now?
So right now I'm mostly working and just expanding on my own stuff. I have my own YouTube videos and such, and I will start school very, very soon. There's no set date yet. But I did take a break after high school for a bit because we moved down here to Florida, and it was like kind of restarting life and all and whatnot.
No
So I took a break from things like school, but I'm gonna get started on it again soon. It's not gonna be like next month, but it is going to be soon. It's not something I'm completely letting aside.
I highly recommend it, man. Like, and I don't know, everybody is different. Some people really enjoy going right from high school right into college and everything. But like, I took 6 months off, and I was able to kind of like in that short time period, I went like, oh, I probably do need to like elevate myself in some way, shape, or form or another. Like whether it's post-secondary for like business or trades or something. I was like, I realized that I probably would be doing whatever it was. I think I was a cashier at the time, and I'm like, I'd probably be doing that for the next 50 years, and I had no real interest in that.
Exactly.
And I also met a lot of people who like did the thing of going straight in because their parents wanted them to go straight to college, and then they just didn't really have a passion for anything, so they hadn't found that thing. So I'm with you, man. Like I think it's really important, but like what kind of like drives you to? You say you still kind of like it's part of the plan, but like what drives you to say that?
So currently, honestly, which is funny enough, prom was one of the biggest factors of like, I have let it die a little bit on the side a little too long, and I do want to get back on it. It's like you said, it's like elevating yourself. It's not even that much of like, oh, I want to be, great, successful and whatnot. Like, sure, that's obviously a big part of it, but I also think a big part of going to school is personal growth.
Yep.
In the way of like, even if I graduate and get a career and maybe it doesn't go anywhere, I still feel like I accomplished something, and I did something that could lead me to a better place.
Yeah, man.
So that I feel like that's a huge part of it, and prom really helped me kind of sell me on that aspect of school. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm more motivated right now than I was maybe 6 months ago.
Because the kind of funny, like the best friend community is interesting in that like the ages range from, I swear, like 2 months old or however old Nikki's daughter is, about a year old.
Yes,
right now.
Exactly.
So basically from there all the way up to old geezers like me. And like, so you kind of have like all of this in between. So like for you, I know like I look to Greg as well. And every time I hear about Mizzou, I just saw this great, I think it was for a basketball game. This guy was singing the national anthem while painting something, and you couldn't tell what it was.
Oh,
he flips it over. Did you see that?
Yes.
That was
I've
Mizzou,
seen that
right?
before.
Oh, incredible.
It happened for Mizzou. That guy I've actually seen a lot of times before because he's pretty famous in like basketball halftime shows.
Yeah, he should be.
He was in Madison Square Garden last season, I believe. He did a really cool painting. Yeah, that guy is talented.
Speaking of Madison Square, by the way, this show is just like all over the place, man. I have absolutely like no idea where we're gonna end up going, but it sounds like
I love it.
We're in it. Madison Square Gardens I found by accident, dude. Like I was just kind of like wandering around in New York City, and we took the train somewhere. We hopped out and we bought. And so it's oh crap! I'm totally dropping it right now. The station, Penn Station.
Penn Station.
We leave it and we turn around. And we're like, oh, there's Madison Square. Like, how did we just like accidentally find like this world
stumble
famous?
upon it?
Yeah, incredible.
Madison Square Garden is phenomenal. I adore that stadium.
It's yeah. I mean, I met Bobby the Nintendo Guru there. I've had many memories there.
It's
so
magical.
yeah, man. I'm impressed by like, I guess the thing with the kind of funny best friends. Everybody's there to support each other, which sounds airy fairy, but like truly, like by being part of that community, you're like, I want to do something better. Like I see somebody else doing something better. I see somebody else pushing themselves, and for you, like I've heard Mario Not Bros as being part of the kind of funny community for like a long time, like part of Twitch comments or questions or stuff. Like what was your on-ramp? What was your entry point into the kind of funny community?
So for me, I've been a fan of Greg and the whole crew for a very long time. I started listening to, I started reading like IGN a very long time ago, but I actually started looking into more of like the personality side of things around, I want to say it was like Beyond 270 is kind of around the time where I jumped on.
I love how everybody's timeline is like that. It's like beyond episode number. It's like before 300, which was so key as well.
For me, it was like a little bit before 300. That's all I remember because I remember when 300 happened. And then I stumbled upon Greg's like personal YouTube channel where he did things like Oration, Conversation with Colin, all that stuff. And, I was just a fan of them. And then they started the Game Over Greggy show, formed Kind of Funny. And I was a fan from the go. Like, and I've never left, and I'm very obsessive in the way that I can't not watch any of the shows.
I know what it's like, dude.
I watch absolutely everything. And whenever I can watch live, it's a thing. My brain is really mean to me because if I'm watching live, I'm like, you should really like tip them just to let them know, you're cool. All right, I'll give them a tip.
Yeah, man.
And that's the thing. Like, people are always like, "Oh, I've heard your name forever." And the first thing I usually say is like, "Well, yeah, it's because I spent a lot of my money tipping like an idiot." That's really it.
Yeah, you and Franklin Sizemore, you and the Arctic Sloth, just like all the time, dude.
All the money in the world, and it's like I look back and it's like, oh God. But I mean, it wouldn't have got me where I am, I guess.
Well, I was saying to Kyle last week, or I guess for me yesterday, like it's great because they really make you feel like every one of their successes is thanks to you. It's like it's this shared success. It's like they can't take it to the next level without you or without us as a community and everything. And that's something special, man. I have been on the internet since it started, and I feel like that's not really a thing.
Yeah, it doesn't really happen a lot.
So how is things? So like I remember when I went to Kind of Funny Live too, and I would be explaining to my family and friends like, okay, I'm leaving. I'm going to San Francisco. I'm taking some time off work to go to this internet podcast thing. Like, what was that like? Did you have to explain? Did you have somebody to answer to?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of explanations to do. Not only going on the like. For prom, it was a little easier than Kind of Funny Live, because for prom, I was like, I mean, it's an adult-themed prom that I'm going to with a bunch of friends. And they're like, okay.
Yeah.
But for Kind of Funny Live 3, it's like, well, it's like a concert, but for comedy. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
And then beyond that, the most explaining, beyond, nice. The most explaining that I really have to do is because I have a Kind of Funny tattoo, which is right there.
Oh, yeah, you would.
So, I'm walking around, smiley face in my arm. People are like, why do you have a smiley face on your arm? It's like, all right, so there's this YouTube company, right? And then I have to go through the whole spiel.
That's the world we live in now. We get tattoos of YouTube companies. I have to ask, the orientation was interesting to me. It was like, like when you stick out your arm, you can kind of like look at it instead of like it going like down or up. Like that must have been a conscious decision maybe, or just a happy accident.
Yes. It was, because when I was getting it, I thought, like, I don't want to get it looking outwards, or obviously not looking at me directly, because that's just awkward. And I was like, I want to have, like, a happy middle to where I can see it and clearly see, oh, yeah, it's a Kind of Funny smiley, and I can also show it off.
Yep.
So when I was at the tattoo parlor, he originally put it, like, facing outwards. I was like, actually, can you put it to the side? And he's like, yeah, sure. So I have it to the side, and I love the way it is, because which is dumb, whenever as a kid, I always wanted to get tattoos, and my thought was like, whenever I get my first tattoo, I want to get it here, and I want it to be that if I'm playing video games, I can see it.
Oh, that is awesome, dude.
That was my dream, like my lifelong dream, and both of my tattoos, when I'm playing video games, I can see them.
What's your other tattoo?
It is the Firefly
logo.
It's
a Kind of Funny dick. Oh no, totally different.
Yes, it is.
So it's a Firefly?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
so you got those fairly recently then, like between
much.
I mean, Last of Us was 2013, so like pretty soon after that, or was it Kind of Funny one your first one?
Kind of Funny one was my first one. I got that August of last year, so it's about to hit a year. And then the Firefly, I got it, I think it was like around January.
I like those. They're simple, but like they look great. Like you can kind of get a little crazy. I feel like in my lifetime I will get a tattoo. I don't know if you like Megadeth. I don't know if you listen to Megadeth. It's super old.
Oh, I've been through a Megadeth phase.
Oh yeah, right. I feel like everybody's gone through a phase. Dave Mustaine once famously said, like, because he always has to answer, like, why don't you have any tattoos? Like, James Hetfield from Metallica has tons of tattoos. Everybody's got tattoos, and he's like, you don't put a bumper sticker on a Mercedes, man. And I always kind of like have that.
Wow. In the back of my That's incredible.
Such a Dave Mustaine thing to say, but I'm like, I feel like they make your arms look better. Like, I love like a good sleeve, man.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot.
It just looks. Yeah, you can really get really creative with it, and it's just at the end of the day, the reason really why you get tattoos is, one, it looks cool, and two, it's just fun to look at. Like, it's fun driving or whatever, and seeing that you have like cool things that you enjoy in your arms. So I love it.
I have to ask, as somebody who's never had one, like, is the pain like what they say? Like, did you find yourself surprised at how you could tough it out, or was it kind of like a bitch fest?
Yeah, it's not really that painful. Yeah. At least not where I got him. I got him in in locations, especially the kind of funny one that's a location that has a lot of nerves and whatnot. So it's one of the painful sides. But the thing that I always like telling people when they ask me is that more than pain, because you would think it feels like somebody's sticking a bunch of needles on you, right?
Mm-hmm.
More of how it feels kind of like if somebody sticks your nail on your skin and then starts like scratching very slowly. It feels like scratching. So it's like it's a pain, but it's more of a discomfort.
Sweet.
It really just feels like really slow grinding scratching. But at the end of the day, you're fine.
Yeah. And you're like no remorse or anything like that because this is I don't know if you know this, Mario, but like it's permanent. Like that thing is there forever.
What? No, I had no idea.
I've been trying to scrape it off. I just thought it'd take a special soap.
I've been trying. Yeah, I know, right? I've been using the soap and it didn't come off. That makes sense.
That's so funny, dude.
No, I have no regrets. I honestly,
I feel like that must be how you live life.
Yeah, it's just the way I see it. Tattoos, because my mother hates tattoos, correct?
Yeah.
So she would always tell me like, oh, you're gonna get a tattoo, and then when you're 40, you're gonna be like, oh, this was a dumb thing. And it's like, well, if you were smart about getting your tattoos, for example, my kind of funny tattoo, 40 years from now, I'll be like, well, even if the kind of funny dies and I never watch them again or whatever it is, I'll be like, well, 40 years ago, kind of funny was a huge part of my life.
And it's a smiley face.
So, it's a smiley face.
I know a guy with a Pantera tattoo on his leg, and I was like, ooh, man, like that might not age well, dude, but
whatever makes you happy, dude.
Yeah, just like flames and everything and like the logo and just like there's no like it could be something else. Nope.
Yeah.
For
me it's just like for me it's just the way like even if later down on the future I don't consume that or I don't like that anymore, it's still a big part of my life. So it's still a reminder of like, yeah, in my 20s or whatnot, Last of Us was my favorite game of all time and I have it here.
Mm-hmm. And who knows, man? So my wife and I are expecting our second child, and we've been told that it's a girl, so we're gonna go run with that for a little bit. Ellie is the #1 name on the list right now, man. So who knows? But we don't know what's gonna happen when this game comes out. I feel like Colin.
What if she's a bad guy? Right?
Yes. I don't know, man. It could be real bad. I feel like there's another Ellie, and I'm totally blanking though. There's got to be another Ellie in video games other than her, but yeah, there's. What if she's the bad guy and she's just terrible and does terrible things? Yeah, it could be real. And then we'll be like, yeah, it was somebody else.
Oh yeah, it's my great aunt.
Is that other Ellie? Yeah, that's true, right? That's so funny. So I have to ask about you've got a PlayStation 4 Pro in the background.
Yes, wow, good catch. It's right there.
You can't miss it, man. It's the sandwich of consoles. That's like my favorite. Like when they announced that, like, do you remember they kept stacking more and more? Like,
yes, it was hilarious. It was one of my favorite memes recently.
So what was your like graduation with PlayStation 4? So I imagine you would have got one because being part of the kind of funny, chances are you're gonna, or even like beyond. You're gonna be on in the PlayStation family. So like, has that always been the case for you? It's always been Sony PlayStation, or was there anything before that?
I grew up with Nintendo. I had a Game Boy Color. Then moved over to like I had an SNES in the house at all times. Played a lot of N64. So yeah, I was a Nintendo kid all the way until the Wii.
Okay.
Which the Wii like was very cool at first, but then it kind of took a very bad tumble. And
I love all you have to say is like I was a Nintendo kid until the Wii happened, and then you can kind of just like give a knowing nod.
Of course,
and everybody knows exactly what you mean. Just like
of course.
Then the Wii happened. Yes. Yeah,
the Wii happened.
But even through the GameCube though.
You could do the GameCube, which I did a lot because the GameCube is probably one of my favorite consoles of all time.
That's what I wanted to dive into a little. Okay, how come though? Like, I completely missed the GameCube.
Oh, really?
I'm always curious. Like for me, it was like because it looked like a lunchbox. It's like the one thing everybody loved about it. They can grab the handle and they could take it everywhere.
Right.
Like I didn't like the little discs. I thought that was kind of weird, and I didn't love the controller. So I kind of like I went on to Xbox at that point. So
you don't like the controller, really?
Dude, I get it. I am in the minority here. There's a very loud. Well, is it a vocal minority of the people? Is it everybody who loves the? I mean, it must be everybody who loves the controller because they keep releasing it.
I really think everybody loves that controller. It's a thing. I genuinely, even to this day, I love the DualShock 4. I think it's a near perfect controller.
Yeah.
But the GameCube controller, just when you hold it in your hands, it just feels so natural and so ergonomic and perfect. I adore that controller.
Yeah.
I adore.
Would you like, because here's the thing with me is I can't imagine playing like with that control. I can't imagine playing anything but like basically Smash.
It's
Anything
very
on the
good for
GameCube.
Smash.
I remember because I remember
Yeah.
playing Madden at my friend's house on a GameCube,
Okay.
and I was like, this is kind of weird.
That might be understandable, maybe, but I feel like for Nintendo games, for the games that Nintendo released for that console, it was absolutely perfect. Mario Sunshine, for example, which my hot take is that it's one of my favorite Mario games ever made.
Yeah.
I know that game like the back of my hand.
Do you really?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Where were you in life when that game came out?
I was very
young. Yeah.
I was very young, but I did. It was because when I was playing N64, I was still young enough to where most of the games I just didn't have the physical dexterity to do the things.
That's what I was gonna say. But even like I feel like that got better with the GameCube actually.
It did. Yeah. So for me, when in the N64 era, it would mostly be me watching the TV and my dad would play along with me, and I'd be like, "Oh, go over here." He was nice enough to where he did that for me. I'd be like, "Yeah, go over there and jump there," and my dad's like,
"Oh,
all right.
I see what you mean. Yeah."
So, but he always liked games, so that's why he had no problem. But with the GameCube, I mean, I was able to okay, I'm gonna take this console home back to my actual house because they were separated, and I'm gonna start playing with it myself. And the first game, because I didn't get it at launch, I got a little post-launch. First game that I was like, okay, this is my game. I'm gonna dive into this. Was Super Mario Sunshine. So I just love it.
For me, looking into Sunshine and I don't know, I feel like maybe I feel like I'm on the outside completely with the GameCube, to be honest with you. But I didn't like the controller. I didn't like the water spray and everything. I was very kind of turned off by a couple probably not really important things. But I had a long-standing connection with Mario. I sort of had built up in my mind he should be doing this thing with his. Even with his tanuki and with his cape and everything, and even in 64 with the wings, and then apparently the sprinkler is just too much.
That's it. That's where you draw the line. Sprinklers, no.
Apparently, but did you already have that sort of established sense of what Mario is? It Mario or Mario? Do you say Mario or Mario?
Mario.
Sweet. Okay, good. Take
yes,
that,
Mario.
Bobby Nintendo
100%.
Guru.
It's definitely Mario. I'm Italian, so it is definitely 1,000% Mario.
Thank you. Proving my point. I appreciate it.
Perfect. All right. Yeah, I mean, I had an SNES in the house when I was very young, so I would play a little bit of Super Mario World.
Yep.
I had a Game Boy where I would play Super Mario Land quite a bit.
Yes, I love that game.
I love it. And I mean, my first video game, and it's another video game that I also adore and know like the back of my hand, is Mario 64. Yeah. I also can do anything on Mario 64. I know that game because even though I was very young, I was still at first my dad would play, but then eventually I was like, you know what, give me that. And I would just play it. And so I love them both. I just have a special affinity for Sunshine.
Mm-hmm. Did you say that your dad still lives in New York, or did everybody move to Florida, if I can loop back to that?
So my dad is currently here in Florida.
Yep.
Not living in the same house as me, but very close. So we are here, most of us. Actually, we're going to move down the line.
You guys
are
how are you guys now? Everything the separation happened a long time ago, but how's everything now? It's
good. I mean, they're obviously, my parents are obviously separated. I currently still live with my mother, but it's good. Like I said, they've been separated ever since I was 2 years old. So there's never been any
really
drama.
Known any different.
Exactly. That's just the way my life has been. It's two completely separate entities.
That's good, man. Well, video games are always there, right? I think that's the coolest thing is that your dad's playing games with you, and your mom's letting you. I don't know. Is your mom playing games too, or mostly just allowing this to happen?
Every now and then, I guess I wore her down enough to where she would watch me play a few video games.
I love it. That's the dream as a kid, dude. Just mom, come look what I can do. Come
course.
See. Yeah, it's the early days of streaming. Just I just want to show somebody that I can do this thing.
Oh, 100%. You're yeah, come watch me. And they're fine.
Yeah, whatever. Oh, man, I can't wait for it to be come see this, except for the fact that he's going to be, my son is 15 months old, and I was about to set up the Super Nintendo Classic Edition upstairs, and then my wife's like, you know what? It's actually easier for us to replace the controllers for an old Super Nintendo that it is for these new like classic ones. So maybe just let him play with that one for a little bit. So at some point he's gonna be playing Mario All Stars. I think is gonna be the first official cart. We're gonna have him.
That's a beautiful first.
It's pretty good,
you can't
right?
really have a better first than that one.
I think so. We'll have to capture it so he knows that like, and even this is like kind of this weird like way of we can show him later. I was thinking, I had put thought into this whole thing of introducing you into video games.
Of
But
course,
anyways, we kind of moved away to Nintendo, but like, okay, so then you kind of, the Wii thing happened, and kind of just like handed people over to just kind of like in waves, just like, no, go over to somewhere else. Like, so what was the handoff for you? Like what ended up, where did you land in the PlayStation, on the PlayStation Island when you landed?
Yeah, I landed on a PS3 Slim, that beautiful guy.
Sweet.
Funny story, I actually originally, when I was like, okay, I'm going to buy a new console, Christmas is coming up, I'm going to ask for it, I'm going to get a new console.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to get an Xbox because I guess I just had heard the name Xbox a little bit more.
Yep.
But remember, I was a Nintendo kid, so I had no real like consciousness of what like exclusives were, of like Halo's Microsoft and God of War Sony.
Right.
And I remember going to my cousin's house, and a friend of my cousin's had brought over his PS2, and we played through God of War 1, and I was like absolutely in love with that game. So I was talking, I believe it was with my cousin. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get an Xbox, buy God of War, blah, blah, blah. He's like, wait, dude, you know that you can't play God of War on Xbox, right? It's just PlayStation. I'm like, really? It's like, yeah. It's like, oh, there's also this cool new game coming out called Infamous where you're a superhero, and it's only on PlayStation. I was like, sold.
That's all it took?
That's all it took. God of War was really all it took for me to be like, okay, cool. Buy the collection.
Amazing.
That's my, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And now now look where we are. Like you so you went on like the full journey. Like it's like an entry point for you into like next level games, I feel like HD gaming even. And then you kind of went through that whole thing, and then now I imagine you've beaten God of War by this point. I'm sure.
Absolutely, I beat that thing in 3 days. I want to say.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did, and it's currently, as The Last of Us, one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah,
and I'm actually working on getting a God of War tattoo recently, because I really love that game, and it just
across the whole chest and across the face. You do the whole like Kratos thing.
I'm gonna exactly complete. No,
yeah,
definitely
they dip in your toes like just the little ones on your arms, and you just go like straight to face tattoos.
That's the way you gotta do it, like instant. 1, 2, and then the third step just
that's how it goes.
Go big, go home.
That's why they call those are the gateway tattoos. That's why they
exactly.
Call them. Yeah.
Exactly. No, but I love that game, and obviously have some special connection with the God of War franchise. Is the first thing that got me into PlayStation. Mm-hmm. So that's why a game like the new God of War means so darn much to me. I love it.
Yeah. On what level does it mean a lot to you? Because I feel like there's a lot of different like angles that people kind of attach themselves to. I've heard so many different stories, but like what kind of connected for you?
So for me, it's just on the new game. Obviously, the idea of this is a franchise that I grew up with, and that, you know, back when I didn't have a lot of games, I would beat 1 and 2 and 3 over and over and over and over again. And then beyond that, on the story side, it's just really poignant. The story with the father and the son. Obviously, I have a father. I've talked about him already, so it makes me it draws connections with you even deeper than it would be like, oh yeah, I used to like this game growing up, to where like, oh no, the story is poignant and it's emotional and it's important, and I adore it. I just adore the game.
I feel like, so there's oftentimes games are compared to movies and everything like that, and every time a game tries to become a movie or TV show, like we kind of cringe a little bit. And I'm trying to think of a game or even a movie that kind of can be played by a wide range of people of all ages, and either like sons or dads or everything. And I'm hard struck to think of a game that like showed kids what it's like to be a dad, but also like made it fun. Like how... This is something that sometimes I just ramble, Mario, just to kind of like, I'm like, I think there's something here, but like there really isn't a game that, how can you teach a kid, like kids are the ones playing the games, to somewhere between like 12 and like, let's be honest, like you're not going to be 18 by the time you play this game. We're like, hi, I was playing Wolfenstein when I was like 6 years old, stabbing a German Shepherd in the face. It's my classic example.
That's just what happens.
So you have these young kids. You have these kids in like who are probably at an age. I think a lot of them like between like 12 and 16, maybe in that kind of very finite area, who are angry at their dad. Who are just like they don't understand. The dad's angry at the son because like for whatever reason and stuff is happening. And then here's this game of like your dad's probably wanting to do something. He's probably wanting to say something, but he can't quite find the right words, or he's got like he sees the next step for you, but can't quite like do this thing because it takes you off the path. Like, holy crap, man. It's incredible. That's heavy stuff.
And it's I think one of the most unique things about this just medium is that two people can play the same game, the same God of War experience, do exactly the same thing, and come out with completely different takeaways. You might have a son beating the game and being like, oh, I kind of understand my father, but you might also have a father playing the game, be like, oh, I want to be better to my son, and this is the kind of parent that I want to be. Mm-hmm. And you can have mothers playing the game and understanding both of them. Like, it's such an interactive experience. It's so hands-on that you immediately put your own experiences onto it and kind of compare.
It's
and contrast. It's incredible. Is
that another Sony exclusive?
Absolutely.
That style of games.
Yep.
So I kind of wanted to jump into how did you get to a PlayStation 4 Pro? Like, I imagine that you had the original PS4, which is still, to me, I don't even think it's really much of an argument. As somebody who actually prefers Xbox, I think that the original PlayStation 4 is, bar none, the best looking original console of all time.
Stunning.
Right? Beautiful. Like, everything else, they kind of, like, iterate on it, and there's always, like, version 2 that looks great, but, like, right out of the gate, they made it perfect. I actually prefer it to the Slim.
They made it very sleek. They made it beautiful, looked super premium. Yeah, that beautiful line, like the LED line. It was a beautiful, beautiful console. Mm-hmm. It had a few issues. It was mostly, which is kind of one of the reasons why I also gave mine away. You know, I had like the issues with the buttons where the disc would keep ejecting on itself because
same here.
The button
I had the button
was
problem.
a heat sensor, and it would overheat, and then the console would think you're pressing the button.
Dude, drives me crazy. I actually had to go in, I tore it open, and I put a piece of tape over the sensor, so now it doesn't work at all. If I ever want to take a disc out, I've got to go in manually and take it. So it's one of my I've got a list of gripes that I've got with the PlayStation.
And it sounds like an absolute jet engine, and it's just... So that's one of the... It looks beautiful, absolutely, but there came a time... Because I had a nice 1080p TV, and there came a time where I was able to get my hands on a 4K TV, which is like one that's right there right now. So I think it's like a 49-inch. It's a beautiful television.
Yeah, very clean setup, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, I like keeping it clean, not putting too much stuff on it. My most ridiculous thing is by far the Stormtrooper right there with the straw hat and the Yankee jersey.
That is the reason people should be watching the YouTube video. I didn't realize it was a Stormtrooper. I just saw the Yankees jersey.
That guy is my favorite thing. It's the only like really extravagant thing I have in my room.
I love that.
Like my desk has a few toys in here, but then it's just that guy.
I've never seen anything like it, man. That's the coolest thing ever.
He keeps me company.
Scare the shit out of you in the middle of the night.
Oh, yes, it has happened 100%. But with the PlayStation, I got a 4K TV, and this was like very close to the time where I believe I was playing Horizon already, or about to play Horizon. And I was like, ooh, okay, I should probably see and kind of like look into a PS4 Pro.
Yep.
So I went to a GameStop, figured out how much I could get for my own PlayStation, and it just made sense. I didn't really pay much for it, and I made the switch, transfer all the information over like it was nothing. It was beautiful, seamless. I loved it.
I love those trade-ins that like they make too much sense. You're just like, wait a minute, I've always hear all these stories, people getting screwed over and stuff, and then you just hit at the right moment, and it's perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect. Thing. I believe I got $200 for my PlayStation, for my launch PlayStation.
It's good, man.
And I was like already 3 or 4 years old. I was like, okay, so you're telling me I only have to pay $200 for, and I got like a little bit more because I had extra controllers. Mm-hmm. So I had to pay like $170 for a brand new PS4 Pro.
So, but you were never really like questioning, because I know like when it was launched, I know especially Greg and Colin back in the day were very hard on it, and I was just as hard on them as well, in that like it didn't really seem worthwhile. Like I was really kind of, to me, like for me personally, the best thing that ever happened to the PlayStation 4 Pro was the Xbox One X, where I got an X and I was like, oh, maybe I kind of want to upgrade my PlayStation as well. But even though like they're not even really the same. But like, were you like right out of the gates? Were you like kind of questioning things, or like how was that journey? I feel like every PlayStation owner went on that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, definitely that was the biggest topic around like for months. Like everybody was talking about it with all the rumors before it was announced. That terrible conference that they did for it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, looking back, that conference is exactly what that console needed, because if they didn't overhype it, they set the correct expectations for what it was. I was never completely critical of it.
That's a fair statement, actually. Yeah.
I think that conference, in hindsight, was exactly what they needed to do. If they had gone full E3, full hype, people would have been disappointed with the console.
Yeah, I guess the only other counter to that would be, like, why didn't they just make a better option? But ultimately, that was the price point, they got it right in both situations.
They got it absolutely right. They nailed it.
Yeah, I think the X is maybe a touch overpriced, but...
A little bit, yes. Honestly, I think PlayStation absolutely nailed the PS4 Pro's launch. Yep. It's made them a lot of money. They have shown how much money it's made them. Like it's definitely worked out. For me, I was never too critical of it. For me, I was more indifferent. It was like, yeah, I mean, sure, I don't understand why they're doing this, but I won't buy it. I'm fine with the one I have.
Yep.
But after a release, then you hear people like, for example, Tim talking about his 4K TV and how beautiful games like Horizon Zero Dawn are on the PS4 Pro. And then I never really cared too much because I didn't even have a 4K TV. But the second I got the 4K TV, it just made sense.
Makes sense. Yeah, it just kind of clicks into place. Mm-hmm.
Why not? If I can get just a little bit more out of my games, make them either run a little bit better or look a little bit better, why not? And so I did, and I'm actually really happy with it. I think it's a great step up. The pricing isn't terrible. They're not charging you $700 for this thing. Mm-hmm. And it's great.
Did you ever jump into VR at all?
So for me, I still haven't been able to buy a PSVR, but I love PlayStation VR, and I love VR in general. I went to E3 2016. That was my first real experience with VR, and I came out in love, but I just haven't had the chance to do it yet.
Yeah. Well, apparently, didn't they just say like the price is coming down another $100 or something crazy that? Like permanently, it's not even a sale price.
Yeah.
What do you think? Now, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, right now, I believe you can get like the PlayStation VR Skyrim bundle for like $250.
Is that nuts, man? What does that What does that say to you, like as a PlayStation fan? Because I wonder, I don't know if I should be reading too much into this or if it's just timing. Like, does this mean like the end of VR? Like everybody likes to sensationalize everything that like it's a failure and all these other things, but like maybe a new one's coming out. Maybe it's just like the stepping stone to the next thing. I don't know. Like, what does it mean to you?
I don't think PSVR is a failure in the eyes of Sony yet. I do not think it's a PS Vita situation. I don't think it's a PlayStation Move situation. I think they had low enough expectations for the first one. There's that great Shuhei Yoshida quote where he says, "This is the original PlayStation. This is the first thing that we're doing, and that we want to build on top of that."
That's a great quote. Yeah.
It's a phenomenal quote, and it gives you insight on the way of looking at it. So I believe the reason why they would do a price launch right now is because obviously we all know this current console generation is on its last legs. Mm-hmm. It's going to last maybe one or one and a half more years. It's not going to be a lot more than that.
Yeah.
What I think it's going to be, let's get as many people in as we can for cheap right now. So then when we launch the PlayStation 5 with the PSVR 2, people are going to understand the technology. They're going to know what improvements they have on it, and then they're going to jump in.
Mm-hmm. That's smart, man. Oh gosh, I want it to be a thing. I don't like seeing these things kind of like come up and then like flame out and stuff. And I have a particular sort of sensitivity to people dogpiling on stuff. Like I really hate that people dogpiled on the Solo movie. I don't know if you feel the same. I don't know if that's even the same thing. But like the fact that it was a failure because it was like people actively wanted it to be a failure. That kind of stuff just drives me nuts.
I think it can go too far. Solo is a good example because I'm a very big Star Wars fan. I personally didn't love The Last Jedi. It disappointed me.
Same.
Very, very lots of levels.
Yeah, I don't need Harry Potter in my Star Wars. I don't need her flying through space. Just get out of here.
We could have an entire podcast about it.
Fair.
So let's But Solo, for example, I never watched it, and it wasn't because of like, no, screw this movie, screw Star Wars, screw Disney. It was more of a personal, you know what? I don't really have a lot of interest in this movie. I'm sure it has its things, and I'm sure a lot of people like it for their own reasons, but I don't really have interest in this movie, which is crazy because it's a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
And I never watched it, but I was never also on the side of like, oh yeah, screw Solo, I'm glad it's failing.
And that's
like, no,
very fair. That's a normal reaction to a movie release. We do that all the time. But you're right. We could probably go on and on about Star Wars. But I wanted to,
Yes.
I definitely wanted to dedicate a little bit of time too to your YouTube series. You're awesome. Here's why. And I was trying, like, there's a few times during our chat today that I'm like, I feel like I could jump over to this now because you have this amazing sense of showing appreciation to where other people might not. Like I don't know, man. I feel like that's a skill you developed very early on, and I very much admire that about you. And also like blessing and all you youngsters. Like that's not what I was doing, man. I was complaining about everything. So I really love the sense of positivity from You're Awesome. Here's why. But like, tell me maybe a little bit about how did that come to pass? Because I want to come back with a shared experience that I've been wanting to do something very similar, but you just went up and did it.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you. Yeah, the show, like you said, it's all really about acknowledging people and just being good to people that are good to other people. It's just all about positivity. I really came up with it. I've always been a person that loves telling people when they're doing good things because there's that great analogy that a lot of people use on Yelp reviews where when people go out to eat to a restaurant, if they have a good experience, they're fine and they go home and they forget about it. But if somebody has a bad experience, they're going to go out of their way to let people know that they had a bad experience. And the good one gets thrown out. So early on, I wanted to be different from that. I wanted to be like, hey, if you make a good show or if you say something I enjoy or if you do anything I enjoy, I want to let you know that you're doing that.
Yeah.
And I lived that way for years on Twitter and such. But one day I was just like, yeah, I wish I could tell these people all these things that they do. And I just decided, well, why don't I make that into a show? Why don't I just decide to go weekly and select a person that I enjoy and tell them why I enjoy it? Because people hear nothing but bad things online. So it's like, well, why don't I just go a little bit more personal than writing a tweet and tell them, to their face, but really to the camera and be like, hey, you're great. And a lot of people love you. And a lot of people feel the way I do. They might just not be as outspoken about it.
I couldn't have said it better myself, man. Like, that's exactly it. And it's just really too bad. I feel like, so I was when I went to Kind of Funny Live 2, I was almost just, I don't know if it maybe the exact same amount of excitement to be able to go to IGN. And we did a tour over there. And like, I was sitting on my hands because I don't know why I didn't ask this question, but I wish to God that I did. But I wanted to ask them about like how they deal with comments in terms of like, how does the organization maybe even like prep the staff or like, listen, IGN is a dream place to work at. You've been wanting this your whole life. Like, and you know about comment section, you know how the internet can be, but like maybe there's like some sort of preparation. I wanted to kind of get a sense of that. And like what you're doing is just kind of like, it doesn't matter. Like you get to skip over all that stuff and just go ignore the haters. There's so many of us who love and appreciate you. I really think that that's incredible. So how long has that been going on? It's pretty recent that you started doing this?
I just put out episode 12. Yep. So it's been a little over 12 weeks.
And do you have stuff like in the can? Are you ready to go? Like, you must have like a list going on this one.
I do have a list of people. Of course. I mean, the ones that I've done so far are definitely some of the most impactful people in my life. They've been the longest videos. Down the line, when it's people that maybe I know about but don't know as much about, I want to put in a little bit more research into the show and just be like, hey, this person did this and this and this. But I definitely do have a list of people that I just want to shout out, and at some point the show is probably going to end because I'm going to run out of people.
You never will. That's the best part. That's the beauty of it.
People are great. That people are always doing cool things.
You can do blessing, you can do like just run through the OK Beast guys. Like that's a 2 months worth of stuff right there. So you're gonna be good to go, man. And then who knows what kind of goes on from there. So is this sort of like part of a journey of creating content? Have you always wanted to be doing stuff like this? Like what's that all about?
Absolutely. I've always wanted to do something creative, and as an endpoint, there was that whole thing like, oh, when I was growing up, I wanted to write for IGN kind of thing.
Yep.
But
is that not a thing anymore?
It is. I would love obviously working at a place like that, but currently I'm really enjoying what I'm doing right now. A lot of video production and learning video production programs and things like that. And I just focused currently on putting good things out there, because I know that if I'm doing things like that and if I move on to different kinds of shows, right now I have this kind of as my pilot show.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll move on to different things, and the more things I make, hopefully you get noticed. That's a whole point. Somebody catches you and they're like, "Hey, come here," and opportunities will rise up eventually.
Wouldn't it be cool if like there was like a draft, like if like the IGNs and the Kotakus of the world, they just kind of like
every year
they kind of go out, they've got like their scouts out there and they're like looking, they're scouring the internet, the billions and billions of hours of content that's being created, and they're like,
that'd be great.
Yeah. Originally from New York, from Florida, we have Mario Not Bros.
Yeah, I'm like, yes, like third pick in the draft. I'm like, thank you, everybody.
Yeah, they put the jersey on you and everything. Pretty cool. I also was about to try and dive into your name. Can you how do you say your full last name? Are we sharing that with everybody?
Yeah, that's fine. It's very Italian. It's a Piacquadio.
Piacquadio. Okay, I'm gonna make sure I like super Italian one, because I always like launch into the show like here, and I get really easy names most of the time, but there's so many syllables. Mine
is challenging. That's why I came up with Mario Not Bros, because it's not easy to know my last name.
You couldn't do what I do, which is just the name. Like some people call me Cian. I got that in the Dominican. Oh, it's Cian. No.
Yeah, I definitely couldn't. Cian, no.
No.
I definitely couldn't just be like, yeah, Mario Piacquadio, that's me. It's like, nope. And thankfully, the Mario Not Bros name has been somewhat recognizable out there, so I kind of nailed it, I guess.
Why Mario Not Bro? Is it because you don't have brothers?
It's really, honestly, it's most because growing up being named Mario, you would get a lot of Mario Brothers jokes.
Sure.
And like,
yeah, I get it.
Where's your brother Luigi? Where's your girlfriend Peach and whatnot? And one day,
shut up.
One day based off of Greg, Game Over Greggy's, I was like, he has such a great handle that's so like quick and snappy, and it's like 3 parts. I want to do something like that.
Smart.
And I was like thinking, and then I was like, oh, Mario Not Bros. That's perfect, because I'm not bros, and people always annoy me with those jokes. So why not?
Holy crap, dude, that is awesome. Is there anything else that you're working on the channel that you kind of want to talk about at the end as we close things up here? Is there what else? What's festering on your brain, Mario?
I have a few ideas on my brain. Bringing games into the channel a little bit more, because games are a huge passion of mine. Right now, most of it is still in the embryonic phase where I'm still thinking it up. I'm focused on Youre Awesome, Here's Why, making that show as good as I can make it for now. But some things are in line. They're gonna definitely be happening soon to kind of keep expanding. I've had some insane support so far, so I want to keep on that.
Dude, well, I see like huge things happening for you. Just you're too humble and too great for it not to. Thank you so much. Did you have any questions for me at the end here? I was kind of like, if there's time, like I don't know. That's always putting people on the spot, but I don't know.
No, it's great. It's great. No, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. It's been a blast. I love the whole like just conversation, just like kicking off.
Just whatever. Yeah.
We started talking about New York and ended up on whatever the hell. It's great.
That's my check mark, man, for like, is it a good show? Yeah, we just went, don't know how we got where we went. Good one.
Exactly. That's a good show. If you're just talking, you're like, oh, it's been an hour. Check. Did it. Nailed it. How long have you been doing the show? Because you're honestly really great at just driving conversation and interviewing.
This is your episode 162, so it's kind of crazy. My whole thing, like, when I started doing this show was like, everybody's like, why did you start podcasting? I feel like I give you 16 different answers, but one of the answers is like, I just thought it would be so cool that whenever it wraps up, like if it ever ends, to like look back and go, I've got this giant collection of conversations with people from all around the world who have all different like upbringings and experiences with games or family or whatever it is, and I got to talk to all of them. Like, that is like the coolest thing. So yeah, really cool. I've now done this about 160 some odd times, and I mean, there's actually lost episodes that aren't counting towards that, and it's awesome, man. I the whole thing is, and people have heard me say this too, but like you've just gone to prom and E3, and I've been to Comic-Con and things like that. Like, this is a Comic-Con, like we're in line. Like, we're waiting for 3 hours at the
Just have a
Funko Pop line. You're
conversation.
just like, what are you doing here, man? Like, how did you get here? And it's just
It's
the best.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I really love it. And again, thank you for having me.
Not to get too weatherman on you guys, but like at the moment there is some crazy, actually all day there's some crazy storms going on. It's light, it's dark, it's like Armageddon up in here. It's kind of like maybe a little bit of like Majora's Mask. I'm also realizing my camera keeps doing the autofocus thing. Bobby just told me about it. I gotta change that. Anyways, Mario, thank you so much, man. I really feel like, you know what? I feel like I need to catch up with Mario. This was last week that we chatted. I don't think you know what, Mario, this is unacceptable on my part. I can't believe I haven't chatted with you since then. We connected, man. I feel like I've got a new friend, but I can't call back like the next day. It's kind of awkward. I really like him, man. I was just kind of like listening to through, like you kind of just check to make sure everything is all right with the audio and everything. I was listening back. I'm like, oh, lovely person. Like, I just really like him. Mario, absolute sweetheart. That's what the show is all about. Meeting new people that you never thought, like, I don't like meeting people. How is this show even a thing, man? Don't understand it. Mario, you guys, please follow him at Mario Not Bros if you're not already. And also the music. Check out ocremix.org. That Shantae remix is for Shantae and the Pirate's Curse on Fire at ocremix.org. Pretty sweet, man. I'm hearing it because I was just listening to it. I kind of have it still like bopping in my head a little bit. You'll notice this is what I meant when I talked. My dad was helping me. I've got my bookshelf is gone. I've got all this space, so the green screen, everything. I got my Lego Dimensions all over here. Soon we're gonna be maybe doing the stream over. I want to do that. I want to build Legos with you guys or something. Because before we know it, Smash is gonna be out, and I'm gonna have a baby like the same time. So my days are numbered, so I gotta maximize the gaming time. Remember, guys, please follow me on Twitter at Sean Capri, Sean like Connor, Capri like the pants. Follow the website, We the Nerdy, the show. Follow the show, We the GamerCast. You never know what greatness is gonna come over there. Remember, I do If We Ran Nintendo with Jason Lacey. It's back on Monday. We're coming back. Big changes coming to that show. I mean, like you can't guess what that would be. The Xbox Drive. Love doing that show. Probably have to record a different day this week, Dave. I don't know if you listen. I should probably tell you before you hear this, because this isn't the best way to hear it. If you guys like this, if you like any of the stuff that I do, or any of the stuff as part of the Make Us Better family, please consider, if you haven't already, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/makeusbetter, even $1. But at $3, you're in the show notes, $10, you're at the top of the show. Otherwise, this is episode 160 freaking 2 of We the GamerCast. Now, your ears and your eyeballs, I hope you're back next week, because I'll be there too. Oh, Friday, Antonio Guillen. But for now, it's Jason!
Jason! Jason! Jason! Jason! Sean! 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 Sean, where are you? Jason! 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 Sean! 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 Jason! 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 Jason!